Well, we have to do a lot of work to get to that goal, to get to what we deem successful. And we're going to find out that the work works more on us than we work on the work. The work develops in us the things that we can use for life, where we can just go anywhere and still be useful. Welcome to the Daily Effort Podcast. My name is Sam, and if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. If you've listened before, welcome back. What this whole podcast is about, it's really focused on, and I'm really focused on, uncomplicating success. That is a big thing that I've focused on with my life, and as I start to dive into more things, I see that success is simple, but at the same time, it's still difficult. But I want to make sure that I uncomplicate it for you and show you what you can do to start to put in the correct effort on a daily basis so you can reach that success that you want inside of your life, whether it is in your career or fitness, or maybe it's with your family or your faith. I want to make sure I give those things to you. Now, for myself, I know I am not to the level of success that I want in my life as of yet. However, I'm still on that journey. I have a long ways that I want to go, but as I continue to go on that journey, I want to make sure that I keep showing and talking about what is leading to success and what I've done so far. I've seen success in some things and I've learned some things, so I want to make sure I share what I've learned so far along my journey. So that is what this whole podcast is about. As you just dive into the episode, if you get value from it, please share it with a friend, share it on social media. That would mean the world to me. And that's really the only way that I'm able to grow the podcast. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is really diving in and understanding, well, what is success and how to define that. I'm going to be really sharing a couple stories, and I'm going to be defining what success can look like and how you can define success in your own life across four different areas. I'm going to look at the financial side of things. I'm going to talk about the career side of things. I'm going to also talk about fitness, and I'm also going to talk about relationships. It could be a relationship with your significant other, husband, wife. It could be your relationship with the Lord. I'll talk about how to really find and define success in those areas. So I know one thing that I always tend to touch on, and I have not touched on as of yet, before we just dive in and everything, as far as how often I really roll these episodes out, and you'll be seeing one episode a week. That's really what I'm going to be doing. It'll always come out at 5 a.m. on Mondays. So you can either watch it on YouTube or listen to it on Spotify, whichever one that you choose. So besides that, we're going to go ahead and dive into everything. So success, because this is something that is talked about a lot, and we're all chasing some level of success in our life. I mean, none of us can say that we don't want more with our life. I know I want more with my life. I know you probably want more with your life. And most of the time at least when I heard of success, especially when I was younger, I used to think success was just one thing. I thought it was just the financial side of things. And that is a piece of success, but that's not the only way to actually achieve success, or really only marker for achieving success, I will say. And that's something I have learned as I've just gone on this journey through life. And again, I still have a very long way to go when it comes to stuff. But success, it is important to define success. And I was talking about this with some people this morning, and the reason you should take some time to define success is because success is going to change. What it looks like is going to change. At one point, maybe success means one thing to you, and then as you go through life, well, success, like what things mean to you is just going to actually change. Because even for me right now, I'm married, and I say obviously like not everybody knows, but I'm married, and I have a 5-month-old daughter named Layla, and before I was married, and before even Layla was here, well, there were certain things that just meant more to me in my life. I also had a different perspective on life, and things were just different. So things are going to change, and that's okay, but you have to continuously come back to redefine success periodically just to make sure that you're in tune with it, because things will change. But then also you're going to achieve some things. And if we don't take time to redefine what success actually is, well, a lot of times without even realizing it, we can fall into complacency. And that's something that we don't want to happen. And you want to prevent that as much as possible. And what I've learned about us as humans is the fact that it's not that we're never going to fall into complacency or that we're never going to slip. We are going to slip, and at times we are going to fall into complacency. At some point, we will in our life. If you haven't as of yet, you will. And most of the time, how it's portrayed on social media is that you never will, and that's just not true. There's going to be peaks and valleys, and that's really important to understand and set that expectation with ourselves. But with success, as we start to go, we're going to start to achieve more and more and more, or we should start to achieve more and more and more. And sometimes we get really close to what we want to achieve, and a lot of times we can start to feel off and feel like, well, I'm almost there to what I actually want, but we can never just seem to get it. It's like we keep just falling just a little short. At those moments in life, that probably means that our goals are too close, or what we want or what we deem as success is too close, and we need to bump that target out a little ways. And I recently went through this in my life, recently meaning this past week, because I just felt off. Things just weren't, I was just like, okay, I know what I need to do to get to where I want to go, and I know what I want, but at the same time, things just felt fuzzy, and I started to dig into things, and I talked with a good friend, TJ LaFavor, and he was asking me some questions about stuff, and this is something he pointed out, was just the fact that, okay, more than likely, and it is, I'm too close to my goals, and I need to push that target out. It needs to go farther away so that I can start to push a little bit harder again. And it's not that I'm not pushing hard, but it's just different. When you have a big goal and the goals are further away, the intentionality that you put into every single day is just going to change. So with success, my point in all of this, just before I start to dive in to talk about, well, what is success across these 4 different areas, you have to come back and redefine success. It's not just a one-time thing and then you file it away and you're good. It's something that you should come back to over and over and over again. Like this year, with some of the goals that I have that are stepping me towards the bigger milestones that I want, well, I just don't set the goals and then I'm good. I come back to those goals over and over and over again to make sure that they're top of mind and make sure I still care about them and make sure it's something that I actually want. Or do I need to pivot and go in a different direction because something that I'm working towards really isn't my goal, and I didn't recognize that early on when I first said it. So it's important to understand that. So reflect on that first and make sure you've clearly defined success, because when you clearly have defined success and you're in tune with it, it sets you up to actually be able to work towards what you want a whole lot better, and you're going to be a lot clearer on what you want to work towards. And success isn't just one-dimensional. It's not just one thing. It's across multiple different things. And that's what we have to remember with this piece. So what can success look like, and why is it important to identify, or really, I would say identify what success is in the financial area. So let's talk about this, because I shared this story today, but early on in college, I thought success on the financial side of things was making over $100,000 or getting to $100,000. I thought that was success. Then I went into, got right out of college, $70,000 a year, and more money than at the time, I believe anybody in my family was making. So I was doing well. And then I went to go work at Honda in Alabama, and I was really close to making $100,000, and I was doing pretty good. And I was like, okay, I haven't reached that $100,000 mark, so I haven't reached success yet when it comes to the financial side of things. But once I then hit $100,000, and now that I've definitely passed that by a good bit, it's like, okay, that's not success to me anymore when it comes to the financial side of things. Like it's a lot bigger now. Like when it comes to success, or what I deem successful on the financial side, it's not just my income though. It's also, well, how are things looking like with money I've invested, or how are things looking in the 401k or Roth or different things like that. Like, or where, even from a financial side, well, where's my debt at? That's like, do I have like an excessive amount of debt that is there? Which thankfully, Amy and I don't. But it's like, with that, all of those things go into what success looks like on the financial side for me personally now. It's not just, oh, I want to make $100,000. It's not that simple anymore. There's a lot of different things that actually go into it. And again, if I didn't take time to write down full financial goals, whether it's a certain amount I want to put back, certain amount that I want to start to invest, or put down on like the little bit of the debt that we do have. Okay, well, I need to have, if I don't set those goals, well then that's not going to set me up to get to my long-term goal of what financial success actually looks like. So for you, figure out, what does success look like in this area? Because I will tell you, it is going to change, and it probably has changed. Maybe for you, success is making $60,000, $70,000. Okay, that's for you. We'll work towards that. If you start to get a little close to it, well then bump it out. Make it 100 or 120 or 200. Like there's a lot of people think that $200,000 a year isn't possible. And I will tell you, it's like, okay, that's very possible. And once you get to a point like that, you'll also see that you've adjusted how you live and your lifestyle to fit within that 200, and you're probably going to be spending more. And that's typically how it works. Most of the time we think that, and this is a good thing to understand. Well, when we are looking at, let's say you make $60,000 now, and you're looking at someone that makes $200,000, and you're like, man, I don't know what I would do with all that money. Well, the thing is, I used to say that too about $100,000, because I was like, man, when I get to $100,000, like, I wonder what I'm going to do with all that money. And then I get there and I realize it's not that much money. And I've just started to adjust my lifestyle to what I'm bringing in. Most of the time as well, you'll get a new vehicle. You'll get a house that is probably taking a good bit of that. Mortgage payments, other things are going to come up. So most of the time we just start to spend a little more, which sometimes isn't a good thing, to be completely honest, because we got to make sure that we don't overspend or anything like that. But once you get to that point, you're going to be like, oh, this isn't what it's made out to be. So it's important, as you're working towards, even on the financial side or anything else, as you're working towards what you want, what you deem successful, you really have to just settle in and enjoy that. Like, enjoy that journey, celebrate the milestones along the way, because what you'll see is the thing that you're working towards, the thing that you actually want, well, if you don't take time to celebrate it once you get there, you're just going to speed right past it. And the truth is, Well, we got to enjoy a little bit of life, because if we just keep speeding along, we're going to speed ourselves right into the grave, and we're all headed there. It doesn't matter. You can't avoid it. We're all going to die. So with that peace, you'll just go straight to the grave and then not have enjoyed any moment or anything that you achieved or anything like that. And what you'll learn, if you haven't learned this yet, you will learn it, is as you're working towards these markers of what success means to you. Let's say on the financial side, let's say you're working towards $100,000 right now, or maybe it's $200,000. Well, as you're working towards that, the skill sets that you develop along the way are the things that are going to be so valuable to you. Most of the time we think that the goal, what we're trying to achieve, is the valuable piece. Like, oh, I'm trying to get to making $200,000 a year, or $300,000 a year, or $400,000 or $500,000, or wherever you're at. It's like that's what we'll say, and we think that's the marker. We think that's the thing that is valuable, but it's really not, because along the way, well, we have to do a lot of work to get to that goal, to get to what we deem successful, and we're going to find out that the work works more on us than we work on the work. The work develops in us the things that we can use for life, where we can just go anywhere and still be useful. And that's important to remember. So define what success looks like on the financial side for yourself. Just take some time to do that. And after you listen to this episode, drop inside the comments, like, well, how are you deeming success in these areas of life as I step through the rest of them? So please drop that inside the comments. Now, second area that I'll talk about with identifying what success looks like for you is your career. Because it's really easy to just be comfortable in a career. It really is. And early on when you first start, let's say, or I'll just share of when I got to first form. Well, when I first got to first form, had the role, honestly, that I wanted. I thought I was going to have to work up to getting the position that I wanted, but came right in. I had the fortunate opportunity to get the position that I wanted. Then there's higher leadership positions that I was going for. So the one thing that I wanted was I really wanted to lead a team. Really wanted to do that for a good year or 2 years. And then it happened where I got promoted, where now I run a team. And now that I'm here, well, success looks different. It's not running just a team anymore, because I've already achieved that. What success looks like for me is, well, how can I run a department? How can I eventually become an executive? Like that's what success looks like to me. And it has changed. And since it has changed, the skill sets that I need to develop to actually get to that look a lot different. And if I hadn't taken time to, once I got to that leadership position, you aren't running a team. If I didn't take time to look at, okay, well, what does success look like now? What's next? While still celebrating the position that I got promoted into, like I did not discount that. It's like took some time, take that in, soak it all in, because I worked hard to get to that piece, and I continue to work hard to actually keep it, because what's given can be taken away. Well, I had to figure out, after I patted myself on the back for a second, look at the horizon. Okay, well, what am I going to aim towards now? What am I going to work towards? Because if I don't have something to work towards, and if I don't push myself, that means I'm not going to struggle. And if I do not struggle, I do not grow. And when it comes to success, anything that you're wanting to achieve, you have to understand that piece. If you are wanting to achieve any level of success, you are going to have to struggle, because the struggle is going to develop the necessary skill sets within you to get you to that level of success that you actually want. Without the struggle, you're probably not going to get there. And that's just a hard truth. It's like you got to put yourself through a little bit of pain to get to where you want to go. Like the pain will develop necessary things within you to help you move forward. But for my career, that's what success, it's really how I started to define success is going up the ladder. For you, it might look a little different. I can't think of really any other examples because for me, with my career, like I want to continue to push and push and push. Now, once I'm at you might ask, well, what happens when you're at the executive level? What then? Well, first, let me get there. First off, like that's still several years out, a lot of years out. But then once I'm there, I will figure something else out to work towards. No different than when I got to the spot where I was running the team. I just figured something else out to work towards. You will figure something else out to work towards. And you should, because you should continue to push and continue to get better. So that's a little bit on the career side. Now, fitness side, this is interesting because I could talk a lot about this because I've been in fitness for a very long time, but success early on, I'm going way back down memory lane. Well, I can remember when I first started working out, I could barely bench 100 pounds. I can remember that. And I didn't have access to a gym, so I went to Walmart. I've invested in a bench, weights, everything like that. So I invested in bought my own weights, and then me and my dad built my own squat rack out in the barn. That squat rack's probably still there. It was made out of oak. It's not going anywhere. But with that, I could barely bench 100 pounds. So success at that time, I just really wanted to bench 200 pounds. I think even it was at the time even 180 because my uncle started working out with me and I noticed that, well, he could bench 175, 180. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of weight. And then as I started to get more into football, I saw that, that is not a lot of weight. That's a pretty weak person, honestly, in the sports world. If you can only bench 180 pounds, you're really weak. Like that's not a good thing if you can only do that because you got to be able to do 225 for reps. And that's what I saw. But early on, that's what I wanted. That was what success was. Then success, especially when I got into football, another area that I was working towards was, okay, well, in my 40-yard dash, success looked like running a 4.5 40. That was success to me, so that's what I worked towards. Now, did I ever achieve that? No, I did not. Really was not. I did not get close. Well, the closest I ever got was a 4.7, so still not that great in the grand scheme of things. And now I probably can't even run like a 5 flat 40. I'm like super slow. But with that, that's what success looked like there. Now, what success looks like for me in fitness is, well, I'm working towards front squatting 315. I'm working to get my bench press max up to 285. Then I'm also really working heavy on my pull-ups. What success looks like in that area is 20 strict pull-ups. That's what success looks like there. But if you asked me a year ago what success looked like with my pull-ups, I still had shoulder pain, so success looked like just being able to do 10 pull-ups. Now it looks a little bit different. So things have changed. No different than what I was talking about earlier. The bar is going to move when it comes to success. And that's an okay thing. It should move. But this is why we should continuously come back to it because we're going to start to achieve things. And it's really easy for us to be like, okay, cool, great, I'm good. Because all of us are just wanting that time in our life where we get to a certain point where we say we're good, we're not going to work anymore, we're not going to push anymore, we're okay right here. Then we get there and realize it's not it's all cracked up to be, and really the whole thing we should have been appreciating along the way was the process, the journey, the skill sets that we built. So we're never going to get to a point ever, hate to break it to you, you're never going to get to the point in your life where you can just coast. Now, you can get to a point in your life where you can coast, but if you're wanting things to continue to grow and go in the right direction, well, you're never going to be able to be stagnant because the thing I know for sure is that if you are wanting to grow and grow any other area of your life, where you are going to have to force it to actually grow. Things don't grow on their own. If you even, for example, if you leave a plant by itself and don't even water it and nurture it and help it along, well, it's going to die. So even plants, if not taken care of properly, won't grow. You are the same way. If you don't take care of yourself and push yourself in the right areas, well, then you're not going to grow either. So that's a little bit of an example of what success could look like on the fitness side. It's gonna move, and that's okay. Now, the last area that I'll talk about is relationships. Well, I can, early on, before when I was single, what success looked like on the relationship side was, just finding a good woman, like getting married. That was success. Now that I am married, what success looks like is making sure I continue to provide for my family. Me and my wife maintain a good relationship as we have kids, because it can be really easy to lose yourself as you have kids. That's something that we're really working on right now with Layla. It's like doing okay. It's like we could probably do a little bit better. Then also another area when I was talking about relationships is just my faith. And I am a Christian, and honestly, it's like, well, it's my podcast. If you take offense to it, I'm just going to be blunt. It's like, I really don't care. But it's like with this, when it comes to my walk with the Lord, well, the thing is, well, I want that to get better. What success looked like way back in the day, honestly, I really didn't take time to identify success with my relationship with the Lord, but it was just spending time with Him. Now, what success looks like is, well, what can I learn about Him? Because He has all the qualities that I want. And I want to get closer to Him, because I know that everything in my life is always better when I have that right. Because He always has to be number one. Like, it can't be Amy, it can't be my career, it can't be anything else. He has to stay number one. And that's probably one of my biggest struggles, is maintaining that. If I have a weak point, it's that right there. And I need to spend more time there. And we all have our weak points. Like, you have a weak point. There's probably a certain area like you need to spend to strengthen things up. Mine is my relationship with the Lord. Spending more time memorizing scripture, prayer, reading the Bible, spending quiet time with Him so I can actually hear Him and dig deep into the Word and not just surface level stuff. That's more of what success looks like to me right now, is that stuff. So that's just another example when it comes to things. So I hope this was helpful. Main thing I want you to walk away with is define what success looks like for you. What does it look like? Identify it in the financial side, your career, your fitness, your relationships, other areas that are priorities and mean a lot to you. Take some time to find that. Once you define it, like, well, let me know your take on this in the comments. Drop a comment below. Tell me what you think. I would love to be able to hear that. I'd love to have discussions about this, because this is why I share all this, is because I want to continue to uncomplicate what it takes to achieve success and what it can actually look like. And really what we've discussed today is that it's going to look a little different for each person, and that is okay. So again, I hope this was helpful. Drop your take inside the comments. Let me know. And if there's something I can do for you, reach out to me. Let me know. I'm more than happy to help you out. But other than that, have a great day. Have a great week. And God bless.